In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 stages that we take clients through to help them systemize and automate their business until it runs without them, so they can stop working in their business and start working on their business. And I've turned this entire systemization process into a free guide that you can follow in order to systemize and automate your own business. The link to this guide is in the description below, as well as a link to book a call with me and my team in case you just want us to do it for you. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Now, before I actually get into the different phases, I think it's important to actually go over why this is important and what we're trying to build in the first place. So what we're building is a self-operating business, a business that runs itself through systems, automation, and AI, as well as people. But those people run the systems, and then the systems run the business, which is exactly what we're going to go over, transforming your founder-dependent business into a self-operating machine in 12 weeks, so you can scale effortlessly while working on your business, not in your business. And the way you build a systemized business is by becoming a systemizer, because then a systemized business is just a byproduct of thinking like a systemizer. So what do I mean by that? So a hustler is someone that needs to work harder. They need to spend more time, more energy, more money to get more output. They need to be more productive, be more rigid with the time management. So basically, they just need to work harder to make more money. Whereas a systemizer uses leverage. A systemizer gets leverage on their time so that they don't have to work harder. But even if they do, because they enjoy it, they get more outputs. So you don't want to trade your time for money. You want to use leverage in order to make a disproportionate amount of money for the amount of inputs and time that you put in. And the core thing between hustlers and systemizers is a hustler would ask, how can I do more of this? How can I do this faster? Whereas a systemizer would ask, how can I remove this entirely? So how can I eliminate, automate, or delegate this task so that I never have to do this again? So if your business is running on people instead of systems, then you're still a hustler, because a systemizer's business runs on systems. It runs on automation, AI, and then people run those systems. A hustler believes that problems are solved by working harder. Systemizer believes that problems are solved by building better systems. So the focus is entirely on systems, because if you have a problem in your life, it's because you don't have a system that can help you solve that problem, because a system is the byproduct of defining a process. And what is a process? A process is taking an input and turning that input into an output. So if you want to get an output, reach a certain goal, certain milestone, whatever it is, you want this output, there is certain inputs that you need to do in order to get there, which is the process. And your system is how you're actually going to get there, is how you're actually going to execute on the process. It's actually going to be the thing that you interact with and use to turn your inputs into an output through your process. So systems is basically how you achieve anything. And if you think about it, the entire universe, school, your body, everything is consisted of systems. So basically, systems are important, which is why you're watching this video. A system is an acronym, and it stands for Save Yourself Time, Energy, and Money, which is the only 3 resources that we sort of have is time, energy, and money. So a system, the purpose of systems and the way you quantify whether or not it is a good system is if it saves you these 3 resources. So the way a system saves you time is by removing work that you don't want to do, which also saves you energy, because most likely the work that you're removing is work that drains your energy, so that you can focus more on the stuff that actually gives you energy. And then the way it saves you money is because you don't have to hire a big team, because you have automations and systems in place. And also the people that you hire doesn't have to be that good. You don't need the top talent, because you have SOPs, you have processes and systems in place where you can just train people on those SOPs and those systems. So you should be able to just go on Upwork, hire the first person that you see, train them on the system, and then as a byproduct of using the system, they get amazing results. That's how you can save money as well. And also just in terms of software, if you're using Notion as the tool and the vehicle for building systems, then you can consolidate all of the different tools that you're using and paying for into one system and just cut all of your subscription costs. So that is how systems can save you time, energy, and money. And then another part of this whole equation is turning your systems into digital products. So productizing them, which is phase 5. This is essentially a bonus step, because if you have systems that solve internal problems and you can identify what SOPs, automations, or systems can solve external problems for your clients, for your ideal customer, then you take those systems and you productize them into digital products, which you can sell to make passive income, so it can make you money. If you sell enough of that, you can replace the money that you make by trading your time, so it can buy back your time as well. And then in terms of energy, if you put your systems and your SOPs and your automations out there for the people that you want to attract, then most likely the quality of clients that you're going to be attracting is going to be higher. Like, it's going to be a better quality of leads, because these are literally the exact problems that you're solving, that you have solved, and that you're just putting out there and showing that you can solve. So the people that you're attracting through those digital products, through those lead magnets, will be higher quality, which in turn will give you more energy and save you a lot of time and headache as well in the process. And freedom is an abundance of all three. So yeah, I would recommend first starting with systemizing your own business, and then once you have that in place, you can package your systems and your SOPs into digital products and sell them to make passive income, or just give them away for free in order to attract clients and use them as lead magnets. So I know that was quite a lot, but if you want to build a different business, then the way you approach business needs to be completely different. It's the same with if you want to level up and you want to become a better version of yourself. You need to sit down and visualize that version of yourself. Where do you live? Who are you? What do you do? What's your habits? And then you basically want to reverse engineer the skills, habits, and beliefs that you need to adopt right now in order to get there. And then also which habits and limiting beliefs you need to remove from your life. And it's the same with your business. You want to sit down, visualize, and clearly define what business do you want to have? How are you making money? Who do you have on your team? How does your systems look? How involved are you? Like, actually define the ideal version of your business. And then you reverse engineer that into the systems, AI, automation, and the people on your team that you need right now in order to get there. So it's the same process, but you just do it for your business as well. So what you want to do right now is just pause this video, set the timer on your phone for 5 to 10 minutes, and then just sit down and meditate and visualize the perfect business. Like, what business do you want to have? What business do you want to build? And then just take a pen and paper and then just write down every single system, AI, automation, and person that you need. And if you actually don't know if it could be an automation or it could be a system, just write down the problems. Like, I have this problem, I'm working on this thing, I have to do this every day. Like, just make a big list, and then you just go through that systematically, and that way you have a clear sort of roadmap that you can follow, because once you've implemented all of these and you've solved all of these problems, your business will be more systemized. So basically, you need to clearly define what business do you actually want to have, what business do you want to build, and then you want to reverse engineer the process of systemization in order to get there. And that process I'm going to walk you through right now. But I would recommend first just pause this video, do this exercise, actually clearly define what business do you want to have, and then continue watching the video, because now I'm actually going to show you how to do it through the different phases. And yeah, this is going to be very actionable. This is what we help our clients with when we do it for them, or through coaching if they work one-on-one with me in order to get the same results. So yeah, let's walk through these different phases. So phase one is systemization. You can't optimize what you can't see. So the primary benefit of systems is actually visibility. So you have one place that you can go to in order to see your business, in order to interact with it. And then from that foundation, you add automation, you add AI, you add more systems, you integrate other tools into the system, and you train your team on using the system. So this is where it all starts. You can't do any of the other stuff if you don't actually have systems. Even when it comes to SOPs, you need a place to put them. You need a place to actually train your team. You need a place to add AI automation to track the performance. And this bonus one is just actually turning your systems into products. But you can't do any of that if you don't have systems. And 80% of AI automation projects fail because they don't have visibility. They just try and automate all the chaos instead of building a system first, which eliminates the chaos, and then you automate what's left. Because if you build a really good system, you don't need automation, you don't need AI, because the system takes care of it. And then everything that's left that can be automated or delegated, then you do that, but you do it through the system. You do it by automating the system and the process of using the system itself. That's why systemization is the first step, and it is also the most important, because this is like the 80-20 principle. If you just do this first phase, it will solve 80% of your operational bottlenecks, and then the other stuff is basically just obviously adding on top of it. So in this case, I'm going to walk you through the process of building a Notion workspace, because Notion is simply just the best tool that exists for building systems because of the visibility, because Notion can integrate with every single tool that exists, even something like WhatsApp. You can link that with Notion and automate WhatsApp messages when you click a button, or you can rebuild tools like Go High Level in Notion. So it's just the most flexible. It can grow and adapt with you and your business. And also when it comes to Notion, the reason why this is amazing for AI automation is, again, because it can link with every single tool. So the amount of AI automation that you can do on top of your Notion systems and native Notion automations is just ridiculous, which is why Notion is just the best tool for actually systemizing your business. So what is the actual process? So let's start with the first step, which is doing an audit for your business. So this is what I like to call the voice to vision process. So what you want to do is you want to go for a walk, go somewhere nice in nature, take your phone, open up voice memos, and just walk and talk for like 60 minutes. Explain everything about your business as if you're talking to me. Like, imagine that we're sitting across on a call and you're just explaining me, who is a systems expert, like how your business is working, what is your workflows, your team roles and responsibilities, what you're selling, your industry, like literally everything when it comes to the operational side of your business, how your business is run, what you need to keep track of, how you need to manage everything, where you store information. So just basically word vomit everything onto a voice memo on your phone. And during this walking audit process, you also want to mention where you would like your business to be, what type of systems and automations you would like to have in the future. And then you just feed all of that to ChatGPT, and you get a detailed breakdown of where you are now, where you want to be, and then the problems in between that you would need to systemize or automate in order to get there, in order to remove those problems. And then you want to map everything out on a whiteboard tool, such as what I'm using here, which is Figma, or you can use Miro, or literally whatever you're using. But you basically just want to tell AI to break everything down in detail in terms of databases and systems and dashboards, and just break everything down. And then you want to map everything out on this whiteboard tool so that it's something that you can see and interact with. And a good rule of thumb is you want to color code certain departments and dashboards the same color, and you basically just want to map out like how everything is linking together. So for example, the employees database is linked with the roles and responsibilities, that is linked with departments, and then you have an admin dashboard that is linked with all of that because you can see all of the information. So you just want to basically map out your systems. And I think it would be useful to actually see an example. So this is an audit that we did for one of our clients. He has multiple businesses, but he needed help with the podcasting and content side of his business. So here you can see we got the company brain, which contains things like SOPs, tools and access, internal wiki for the team. Then he has the podcasting operating system, which is linked with a content calendar and tracker, the podcast guests, the media outreach, collaborations, and then this is all linked with his networking CRM, investor and business CRM, because he uses his podcast as a way to attract clients that he wants to work with. And then this is linked with the executive dashboard, which is for him, where he can see a weekly snapshot of everything, the priorities, the revenue, and basically just a lot more. Like the actual system that we ended up building is a lot more robust than this. But this is just to give you an example for this video that this is more or less how it can look in terms of just mapping it out. And this takes like 5 to 10 minutes if you are using ChatGPT and you have everything outlined. And as you can see, it's just color coded. So to just give you an example, this is more or less what you would end up with if you actually map out your own systems. And when it comes to mapping out your systems, it can obviously be a lot more complex than this. You can use triangles for mapping out processes, circles for this thing, diamonds for that thing, but it doesn't have to be that complex. You can keep it simple. And in this case, this is specifically for Notion. So this isn't anything to do with their automations or any of the other stuff. This is just the actual Notion databases and how the Notion databases connect with each other and how it creates the different dashboards, which I'll cover in the next point. But basically just mentioning, you don't have to make it complex. Like it can just be simple as, okay, here is all of my databases. This is how they all link. And now you have this diagram, you have this systems map that you can interact with and you can visually see. And then you literally just go through and just make sure that you build all of these and just connect them all with each other. And once you've mapped out your systems, you now have a clear blueprint that you can follow in order to actually build the Notion workspace. It is out of your head. it is on ChatGPT, it is on Miro or Figma, and now you can actually go ahead and build it inside of Notion. So that brings us to the second stage, which is the actual Notion Workspace build. And the way you want to build it is by starting with the backend first. So what I mean by this is you first create a page called databases, and then inside of that page, you create all the databases which you mapped out in the previous step. You add names to them, add icons to them, and then you relate them with each other. So you connect them, and then you add all of their properties. So you go through each database, add in all of their properties, the date property, number property, status, whatever it is. You can use ChatGPT to help you. You just add in all of the different properties, relate them with each other, and then you should have a massive list of just a bunch of databases with all the properties, and they're all linked with each other based on what you mapped out in the previous step. And to again just show an example, this is my business OS that I'm using for my systemization agency. And as you can see here, we got the backend databases page, and in here is all the raw backend databases. We store them in one place, and then from here, you just copy the link to the database, and then you go into the dashboard and then you paste it as a linked view. And that way you're only building dashboards and pages using linked views and not the actual database, because it's a lot safer, and you can also change the database sources. So yeah, to just show you a quick example, here is a dashboard which contains a bunch of other dashboards inside, and then we have the backend databases page over there. And then the next part of this is system architecture. So this is basically just, okay, once you have these databases, now you want to build dashboards. So for example, the company brain dashboard will contain the SOPs, team directory, roles and responsibilities, and department databases. So those are 4 different databases that is inside the company brain. Same with project management, client and customer management, financial tracking. Like this is all dashboards which contains multiple databases. So then once you've created the databases, you just copy the links, paste them onto the dashboard page, and then you build out your dashboards. So you want to essentially start with the back end first, and then you build towards the front end. So once you've done this, you should have a fully functional Notion backend system, and then it's just further developing the front end for you and your team. And this will mainly consist of the CEO dashboard, so the one that you would actually be using. Then you would have the department dashboards. So this is, for example, your content team, your sales team, your customer success team. So they will all have their own department dashboards. And then within those, you would have your actual team dashboards. So for example, the video editors would have their own dashboard, and the videographer and the person scheduling the posts. So within the content team department, you also have the actual team dashboards. And then everything just feeds to your view, to your dashboard, where you can actually manage and keep track of everything. And then you just want to train your team on using those systems. So you want to create SOPs that they can follow step by step in order to use the system. And then as a byproduct of using the system, they will get better results. It will be more consistent, and all the information and data will feed through to your dashboard, which again helps with visibility. So you at a glance, just from clicking a button, going to your page and your dashboard, you can see everything that's going on in your business. Now, once you've done this successfully, your team should now be using your Notion Workspace. They should be able to turn their inputs into outputs as a byproduct of using your system. And if you want to improve those outputs that your team is creating, then all you have to do is just tweak the system. All you have to do is just improve the system, and as a byproduct, the outputs will improve as well. So that is pretty much the process of systemizing your business with Notion by building a Notion Workspace. So you want to do an audit on your business. Then you want to build the Notion Workspace, starting with the back-end databases first. Then you want to build the front-end experience for your team through CEO, department, and team dashboards. And then once you've done this, your team should be using systems in order to get results. I hope that that process made sense and that it was insightful. And now the next step is extracting all the SOPs from your brain and putting them into your company brain, and then eliminating, automating, and delegating as much work as possible so that you are only left with the things that you actually want to be doing. So that is going to be phase 2. So phase 2, SOP extraction. Your process is your intellectual property. So the way you do things, that is unique to you and your business, which is why clients and customers come to you, because they're like your products, your services, your way of doing things. It's the same with McDonald's. If you walk into any McDonald's anywhere in the world, the Big Mac will be the same, it will taste the same, it will be made the same, because they have SOPs and systems in place. So that is essentially what you want for your business, is that the processes of actually turning inputs into outputs is consistent, it's the same, and you deliver consistent results as a byproduct of having SOPs and systems in place. And this SOP process is usually the most difficult for founders because most likely the way you're making money, the way you've built your business is based on your zone of genius. It's what you're naturally good at, it's what you enjoy, it's based off muscle memory, the nuanced understanding of your industry just from you spending a lot of time in it, and just basically your intuition and sort of like a sixth sense on how to do things, which makes it very difficult to actually write it down and give it to someone else because you feel like you're the only person in the world that can do this thing, which is true. But the whole point is that you're not. That's where most founders stay stuck is, oh, I'm the only person that can do this, therefore I am going to do this. But the whole point with building a business that you can scale is that you're not the only person that can do it, that you're detached and that you're not involved in running your business, meaning you have to actually get all of that stuff out of your head, write it down, get it in video and text form, and then you need to be able to delegate it to someone else and they should be able to get the same outputs, which is not easy. Like this is not the easy process at all, but it is one of the most important processes because as long as you're the only person that can do the thing that you're good at, no one else is going to be able to do it for you, which means you're not going to be able to scale your business because it will still rely on you. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing the thing that you're doing and the thing that you enjoy and are good at, but you should be able to delegate it. So it's like you can still do the thing, but as long as you have SOPs and through the process of you still doing the thing that you enjoy, that you're good at, the SOPs improve. And if you need someone else, you can train them. You can hire someone and train them on how to do what you do best, which would mean that you're not the only person in the world that can do it anymore, which should be a good thing. So that is why creating SOPs is important, because this is actually how you transfer your knowledge and your wisdom and everything that you've learned, your principles, your frameworks, like how you translate all of that into another person, into another system, into AI, so that you can detach yourself from the business. So this is the most important part when it comes to transferring your knowledge into systems and people. And another good frame of mind to think about SOPs and systems is just how can you franchise your business? How can you build it in such a way where you can give your systems and SOPs to a random stranger and they would be able to replicate and build the exact same business? Even if you're not planning to do it, it's just a good thought process because then you're thinking in terms of building your business in such a way that is franchisable, sellable, scalable, because that's essentially what you need. And if we just take a look at McDonald's, for example, you can just walk into any McDonald's and get the same food. But more importantly, from the perspective of a business owner, you can hire literally anyone. They don't have to be smart. They don't even have to be good or competent or anything like that. You can just take someone from the street, give them your SOPs, give them your system, and they will be able to make the exact same Big Mac as everyone else in the world. So that is the power of having good SOPs, is you don't have to hire the top tier talent because you have good SOPs. So you can hire an average person, which is a lot cheaper, and then just train them on your SOPs, train them on your systems, and they will be able to get amazing results. That's how you know you have good SOPs and systems in place. Now let me actually walk you through the SOP extraction process. So the first one is process documentation. So what you want to do for the next 2 weeks is just have a pen and paper next to your desk while you're working, and then just write down every single little thing that you're doing. Imagine as if there's like a 5-year-old kid next to your desk just constantly asking you, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Why are you clicking there? Like just write down literally every single thing, even if it's something small like tagging your emails or changing the status of an ocean property, like literally write down everything. And then after 2 weeks, when you have this big list of all the tasks that you're doing, you basically ask yourself these 3 questions. The first one, eliminate. Can this be removed entirely? Second one, automate. Can this be done by software or AI? And in the third one, delegate. Can this be done by someone else? So you just want to go through each of those tasks one by one and just tag them with eliminate, automate, or delegate. And then what you'll also realize is there will be a few tasks that doesn't have either of these 3. those are the things that you actually want to spend your time and energy on. Everything else, everything that has eliminate, automate, or delegate next to it, you want to remove entirely from your schedule. You should not be touching or doing that work at all. So basically, once you have this big list, you go through everything that has elimination, and then you ask yourself, how can you actually remove this? And usually this isn't a system or AI or a person. This is through changing your offer or your business model or the way you deliver your service. So this is relating to just how you use your business and what tools you're using, because maybe there's a way to just simplify everything that you're doing, which will then remove a bunch of tasks from your schedule. So that's basically how you eliminate work, by just simplifying your business. And then when it comes to delegation, everything that has delegate next to it, you want to create an SOP for. You want to create SOPs for everything, but delegate is the most important ones for SOPs, because that is actually what you will first give the person in order to just remove work and buy back your time so that you can then focus on the other things. So everything that has delegate next to it, you want to then create SOPs for. So when it comes to this, you can use different tools like Scribe, for example, where you can record your screen and you can just do the task, and then it will automatically turn it into SOPs with screenshots and videos and text. Or you can record your screen through something like Loom or just whatever software you're using, and then you feed that to AI, and in the video you actually talk and explain the process and your thought process of how you do it. Then you feed that to AI, and then you get it to actually write an outline and basically just write the SOP. And then you can also just take screenshots from the video and add that to your SOP document, so that you have the video of you talking and going through the process and actually doing it. But then you also have the written step-by-step instructions with images and screenshots of how to actually do that task. And just a good way to test your SOPs is just feed it to AI and ask it where you can improve it, if there is anything unclear, and just use AI to test your SOPs, and then actually delegate it, like use those SOPs, go on Upwork, hire a VA, and then just give her or him the SOP and just see if it actually works. Like, tell them to just follow the step-by-step instructions. They shouldn't even think about it. They should literally just follow the SOP. And if you don't get the same output, then the problem isn't them, it's your SOP. The problem is never with the person that you're hiring, it's always with your systems or your SOPs. And once you've done this, once you've created SOPs for everything that has delegate next to it, you want to put this in your company brain, which we built in the systemization phase, in your Notion workspace, and then you will have a complete library with all of your SOPs linked by the department and the roles and responsibilities, and your team members using your Notion workspace will be able to actually interact with the SOPs. Some of them might be able to update it if you give that responsibility to one of them as well, and that way you have all your SOPs in one location in the system that everyone is using. So then when you hire someone, you just put them on the system, show them how to use it, and then give them access to the SOPs. And then just through that, through the SOPs and the systems, they should be able to do the job nearly perfectly. Then the next step is process automation. So the first thing that you want to look at is everything that has automate next to it. Which of these can you automate in Notion? Which of these is a system automation? It's first systems, then automation, and then you add AI to it. So firstly, you want to look for everything that can be automated in Notion. For example, let's say if a project is completed, you need to update a team member. So in Notion, you can make it so that when the status of this project goes from in progress to done, it will then send a notification or send a Gmail to this person. And this can all be done natively in Notion. Same with updating things, or when you click this button, it adds new tasks to someone else. Or let's say it's something like onboarding. So you're onboarding new team members. Ideally, when you add them to your database and you click a button, it will give them all of their 10 onboarding tasks that they need to complete. It's automatically signed to them, and also the manager of that person can also see those tasks. So that's an example of an automation. You don't want to actually create those 10 tasks. You want to just click a button and then it creates everything for you. So basically, native Notion automations is the first thing that you look at. So you just go through your list, what can be automated in Notion, and then you just do that and you cross it off. And then if it can't be automated with Notion, you use an external tool like N8N or Zapier, or you can also use Make.com, but personally I use these two. And that way you can then do a bunch of other automations, like literally you can automate everything, it's crazy. But you can also still have Notion be the trigger. So if a new database entry gets created or the status change or something gets updated, it can then trigger an automation, and then it can update something in your email software or on this software or this platform, or send a WhatsApp message. Like, you can pretty much automate anything. So to just show an example, here I have my automation for my free school community. So this is a community teaching you how to use Notion. There's a full free Notion course, which if you want to learn Notion, just check that out in the description. But basically, when someone joins, it adds them to my Notion database. And then when we change the status from member request to approved or active member, it then adds them in my email software, and then it tags them based off their questions, which will then trigger an automation in my email software, sending them an onboarding email as well as emails relating to what they actually want to get out of the community. They can also fill in a different form, which is for me to collect feedback, which is this one. And then based off this, if they select different options here, it then again updates the email preferences and the tags in my email software. And then in exchange for filling out this form, I also send them 20 free Notion templates through my email software, which everything is just automated. I don't have to do anything. And even the membership requests, like I have someone that just approves the members. So this is all running on autopilot. And then, yeah, also just this one, which is updating email preferences. So this is just an example of automations where it removes a bunch of manual work. Like, for example, okay, new member request, we add them in the email software and we tag them. This is something that the VA can do, but it's also something that an automation can do. So that's just an example of first automating before you delegate. And then in this case, the only thing that can't be automated is actually approving members in the school community, and then also just updating the status once they have been approved. We can also eliminate this by just making it available for anyone to just instantly join, so we don't have the requests, but I do want to keep the request. So for that, I have someone that actually approves the members when they join, and then it triggers this series of automations. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how things can be automated, and also shows you how useful and powerful it is to have a Notion workspace, because you have all of your systems there in one place. And then when you layer automations on top of it, as well as team members, as well as AI, it just becomes ridiculously powerful. Because also with Notion, you have charts. So you can just view charts and you can view all the data. Everything can link with it. Even if you're using other tools and other software, if everything gets pulled and added into Notion, then in Notion, you have the most amount of visibility. So you can literally see what's going on in all of the software and all of the platforms, just everywhere. Like, everything that you're using can be integrated and linked with Notion. And then from Notion, you can have triggers that automates work and tasks into all of these other softwares. Like, for example, my school community, which is linked with my Notion system, which is linked with my email software. So that's the power of automations and why you want to do this before you hire someone. And when it comes to actually hiring people, so previously we talked about the SOP part of it, but when it actually comes to hiring people, you want to hire one person that hires 10. So this is also what Alex Hormozi talks about. Find the one really good person that's good at everything. So community, building systems, creating SOPs, hiring, onboarding, like whatever it is, hire one really good person. And then that person just does everything, just takes everything off your plate. They're basically the COO of your business, which is also what we help clients with. But basically, you want to hire a COO, someone that can delegate and hire a lot of other people. And then you just give them the SOPs, you give them the type of people that you're looking to work for, the company values and vision and everything. And then it's their job to go find the right people and then train them on the systems, train them on the SOPs. And that way you don't spend all of your time delegating. You just spend like a lot of time hiring one really good person, and then that person can go and hire more people. And then once you've gone through this entire process of eliminating, automating, and delegating, your business should be a lot more efficient. It should be a lot more visible in terms of your systems, and you should have saved at least an extra 10 hours per week, if not more than this. Most likely it's going to be like around like 30 to 40 hours a week. Like literally you will see that most of the work that you're doing can be automated or delegated or just eliminated by simplifying your business model. So once you've done this, you will have a lot of extra time. And then the reason why this would be sustainable and why this would get better over time is if you have a feedback loop for your systems automations, and the team. So basically what you want is you want a way for the team to leave feedback. It can just be a simple form. It can be daily, weekly, monthly, just a form for them to give feedback on the SOPs and the systems, what they think can be improved, them giving ideas. You can identify friction points and bottlenecks in terms of your systems. This can also be the role of the person that you hire over here. But essentially, not going to go through this in detail, but basically you want to develop systems and forms and metrics and KPIs and just ways of tracking the performance of your systems, tracking the performance of your team, the automations, making sure that the automations is actually running smoothly, because sometimes it can go wrong. So you want to essentially just make sure that you have a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly review process on your systems, on your team, making sure that everything is going smoothly, and a way for your team and automations and systems to basically give you feedback. I know automations and systems can't directly give you feedback, but you can create reports, you can create charts, you can create views and dashboards that pull the information to you, and then the actual employees and the team can then actually fill in forms, and they can hop on calls with the manager, and then through that you have your dashboard and everything where you can collect feedback and actually track the performance of your systems and SOPs and identify where you can improve all of it. So that's pretty much the SOP extraction process. So to just quickly recap, you get a pen and paper, put it next to your desk, and then as you're working, just write down every single thing that you're doing over the next 2 weeks. Then you ask yourself these 3 questions. Can this be removed entirely through simplifying your business? Can this be done by software or AI? And can this be done by someone else? And then you just tag everything that doesn't have this tag. You keep that to the side. This is your high leverage, high value work. This is your zone of genius. Everything else, you then go through the process of hiring one person that hires 10 people, automating it with Zapier or N8N if you can't natively automate it with Notion, and then just turn everything that can be delegated, and including how to use the systems and automations, into SOPs. And that way you'll have an SOP library that you can use to delegate work, or the person that you're hiring that they can use to delegate it. And then you have automations, and everything that can be eliminated is eliminated through just simplifying your business and your offers and just how you deliver your service. So that is pretty much the process. And then you also just want to have daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly review systems and processes in place in order to actually track the performance of everything and to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And that brings us to the next phase, which is AI automation and integrating AI to everything that you already have, your systems, your automations, everything that we've done in the previous 2 phases. You then integrate and add AI automation into the mix to just make this insanely powerful. So phase 3 is AI automation. Your AI should know your business better than your employees. This consists of 2 steps. The first one is building a business brain. So basically feeding everything about your business to AI, and then giving that to your employees so that they can become more efficient. You're not replacing them, you're just making them better. And then the second step is integrating AI into your automations and systems, which is what we built in phase 2 through the SOPs, and also in phase 1 through the Notion Workspace. So then you're just integrating AI into your automations and systems. So let me run you through this. This first step is just collecting all the information. So all of your SOPs, your brand guidelines, your philosophy, your offers, ICP, the people that you're targeting, the analytics of your ads, your community, forms that your customers have filled out, like literally everything. You want to collect all of that information, and then you want to feed that to AI. And the simplest way to do this is by just creating a custom GPT. So you can literally just go to ChatGPT, create a custom GPT, and just upload all of your documents and your files to it. But what I would actually recommend is to use Poppy. So what Poppy is it's this AI whiteboard tool. So you might be familiar with something like this. So this is essentially how ChatGPT and Claude works. So if your chat's on the left, you can talk to AI. You also have a voice to text button over here. And with Pop, you can actually choose which model you're using. So if you're using Claude or Grok, Gemini, ChatGPT, which one you want to use. And when you minimize, you can essentially link the information sources. So for example, here I have a group which has a link to my channel, an image, and then multiple just text documents with text inside. And I can take this and then I can link it to the AI chat window. And now if I talk to AI over here, if I talk to Claude in this case, it will then use all of this information that I've linked. So the information is a lot more accurate. And for example, here I also have guides. So this one is Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads, the entire book and everything turned into a guide. So I'm going to link that one. And let's say I want to link my agency offer. So here I have my offer, the person that we're targeting, the VSL script, the website. So I can link this entire group also to the chat window. And now when I speak to it, it will use only this information that I've given it. So now I can give a prompt like based on my agency offer, which is the offer that I want to be selling, and my brand and philosophy that I want to put out there. Help me link these together and also create a clear action plan for the next 3 months based on the $100 million leads guide in order to grow my brand and get more clients and leads. And then it will basically use the information that is linked. And then if you want to link something else, like let's say I want to remove this one and instead I want to do it for my LifeOS dashboard, then I can link this group, which is my entire dashboard, all the productivity frameworks, the offer, like everything that it is, the testimonials. Like I can then link all of this and then do the same thing. So this is like really useful because then you can just put everything onto Poppy and you can visually see it, you can move it around, you can interact with it. And even when it comes to YouTube videos, for example, you just take the link, you copy and paste it in, and it's automatically transcribed. It can see the audio, the thumbnail, the video itself, everything that has been said. You don't have to like go to a third-party tool, get the transcript, move it over. Like this just saves so much time. And then you can also have different boards. So I have one for creating content, daily newsletter, one where I've designed my agency and the offers, building my school community. So yeah, you can use this for a lot of different things. The only downside with this is there is credits, but it is like worth it. It is well worth it. I've definitely gotten my money's worth from Poppy. So I would recommend you to do the same. And especially because you can share this with your team. So once you have your Poppy board, so everything that we discussed in the first step, so all of your SOPs, branding, frameworks, like everything you put here inside of groups. So you would have a group of decision-making frameworks. You would have a group of offer one with all of the ICP and the target audience and the marketing, the messaging, like all of this information similar to what I have over here, just describing everything about it. Then you would maybe have a group of your brand and your philosophy, another group. So you can just create all of this, put everything here, and then your team, when you share this with them, they can then interact with it just like a whiteboard tool like Miro or Figma or something like that. They can interact with this whiteboard tool. They can link stuff, they can unlink it, they can add things to it. And that way, everything is in one place. Obviously, it's organized in Notion with all your SOPs and documents. But with this, you can actually just link and unlink it in order to actually create content. So this is obviously useful for content. Like this is going to be the primary reason why you use it, but it's also useful for just developing offers. So you can, for example, feed Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers, all the books and the guides and the frameworks, turn that into a guide, then link that with your ideas and your voice notes and everything that you want to be doing. And then that way you can create offers, or your team can create offers. They don't need to know how. They just need to know that they need to link this one, and then they need to link that, and then just type in the prompt. So it's a lot easier to use it like this because, yeah, it's interactive, it's visual, which if you're visual like me, then this helps a lot. But it's also useful to actually just create a custom GPT because that is a lot simpler, and you can also share that with your team and they can interact with you essentially, like your GPT, which has all of your information and SOPs and everything. But yeah, that is a way that you can actually use AI and how you can add your team to it in order to use AI to create content and help you just grow your business. So once you've done that, you've gathered all the information and you fed it to a custom GPT or a Poppy board, you added your team to it, then it's actually just creating different agents and workflows and assistants. So for example, the Poppy boards that I showed, you can have a specific board that is just customer support. So if someone on your team is handling customer support, then everything goes there. All of the SOPs, all of the FAQs, the products, the offers, like that workflow is specifically for customer support. And then someone can just go there, interact with the AI chat, and then get the answer to whatever question that they're getting. So yeah, that's basically how you train AI on your business. You just get all your SOPs, all your offers, just all the information about your business, and you feed it to a custom GPT, you feed it to a Poppy board, and you give your team access to both. And that way your team is going to be more efficient, faster, and they don't need to hassle you for all the information because AI has it and essentially replaces you, so that they don't need to come to you. They just go to ChatGPT or the Poppy board because everything is there, and that way they can get all the information that they need in order to actually do their jobs more effectively. So the next step is AI-powered workflows. This is where your system will be running on autopilot because you're using AI agents in your end-to-end workflows. You're integrating AI into your Notion system, into your automations, and then you're going to integrate all the other tools that you're using into your system and then automating all of those as well. So to show an example here, I have an end-to-end workflow which uses AI in 3 different steps. And this essentially organizes my email inbox. So when I get a new email, AI, in this case the OpenAI language model, will automatically tag and label all of my emails. So everything will be categorized according to collaborations, customer support, finances, newsletters, software, and miscellaneous if it's not any of these. And then once all of my emails have been tagged and categorized, it will then also add a status because I'm using Notion Mail. So it also adds the status again using OpenAI. So then it either becomes a waiting reply, to reply, action required, or to read. And then if it is to reply or action required, it will also create a reply, and it will add the reply as a draft. So it's not going to automatically send it, it's just going to be a draft. So if I open up my Gmail, then everything is categorized and labeled, everything has a status, and all of the emails that is to reply or action required has a reply attached. And I can just review the reply, change it a little bit and tweak it. And then through that process, I just tweak the AI here as well. But then I can basically just tweak the reply and then send it. And obviously, as you can imagine, this just makes everything way more efficient. And then this top branch over here also has AI, this one, but this is for threads. So this is if someone has already replied. So we're going back and forth. It then shows it as a status. So it will then actually change the status from awaiting reply to reply. So it will see that, oh, okay, we've already talked with this person. Let me change the status back to reply, which means I need to reply to it, and then the AI will actually also create a reply draft. So that is essentially how this works. So this is a way of basically using AI in your automations. So as you can see, this is something that you would pay a VA to do, but AI can actually do this for you. Like given, you do still need a VA to go over everything, to actually send the emails, to make sure everything is good. But this is like 80% of the job. It's like categorizing, labeling, and creating replies. So yeah, this is just an example of how you can use AI in automations in order to just save time. So that's AI automation workflows. And the next one is integrations. So just taking all the tools that you're using and then integrating that into your Notion system, your Poppy workflows, and also your end-to-end automations. And that way everything is just harmoniously working together. So for example, let's say your team wants to use your social media statistics in order to create marketing content. So basically they can take your Instagram API and that can be fed to Notion so that all of your Instagram followers, views, all of the statistics is inside of Notion. And then that is automated with a Google Sheet. That Google Sheet you put inside of Poppy. And then this Google Sheet is also automated with N8N, where you can create more automations and extract insights from it and stuff like that. But let's say you put that Google Sheet inside of Poppy, then your team can actually use that and just link it to the AI chat where they can interact with it in order to create content, because that will automatically update because everything is automated with each other. So you don't need to input any manual database entries. Everything is automated and continuously updating. So they can just link that and then use that in order to create content. And you can do the same thing for sales. So you get calls booked, you have AI meeting note takers, everything can be linked and inputted in your Notion system. Your team can interact with the data on Poppy in order to create content. Everything can go into N8N where you can analyze all the information and it automatically sends emails to your team based on how it went. If you got a new lead and if it's a new client, then that gets added to your Notion system. So you can make this as complex as you want it to be, but basically, I'm just trying to transfer the idea to you that everything that you're doing in your business, whether it's content or social media or sales or offers, like all of it can be automated and systemized with Notion, Poppy or ChatGPT, and N8N. So just using these three tools, Notion, Poppy, and N8N, you can pretty much systemize and automate everything to the point where you don't even know what to do with your time, because everything is just running so efficiently, everything is talking to each other, and everything is just working together. And you have your team that is trained on SOPs, that knows how to use the system, which is obviously what we help clients with. So again, if you're interested, just check the link in the description. But yeah, to just give you the idea of how powerful this could be, you first want to build the system, then you want to add automation on top of it, and then you want to layer AI and integrate it into your systems and automations. And once you've done that, your business is a lot simpler, a lot smoother, and a lot more scalable. So that is pretty much phase 3, AI automation. And in the next phase, this is all about performance tracking. So how do you actually get feedback and data from all of your systems, AI, automation, and team in order to ensure that everything is running smoothly and that you actually get feedback that you can use to optimize your systems so that your team can optimize and run everything without you, so that your business actually becomes more efficient over time instead of your systems breaking down. So how do you actually track everything and make sure that you have a review cycle and feedback loop so that your systems and automations actually improve over time? So that is exactly what we're going to cover next. All right, so phase 4 is performance tracking, which is essentially the process of combating system entropy. So system entropy is when you're not maintaining and improving your systems, they will break down, just like with anything in life. So performance tracking, like this phase of the systemization process, will basically ensure that you don't experience system entropy and that your systems actually improve over time instead of break down. So the first step is to define the key metrics. So what are all the actual metrics that you want to track in your business? Just define all of those. You can again use AI and the Poppy board that you created in phase 3 in order to actually define what those key metrics are for your business. Then you want to build the actual system to keep track of all of those metrics. So this can be anything from the amount of time saved per week, revenue per employee, or stuff like when you onboard a new team member, how long does it actually take for them to get onboarded and start working? Same with the clients, the client onboarding process. So just get a list, a big list of just everything in your business in terms of operations that you want to keep track of, and how do you actually know whether or not your systems and your automations and all of these things are actually working? Like, what are those key metrics? Then you build a tracking system. So tracking systems can be anything from spreadsheets to dashboards to databases. It can also be forms that you send out to your team every week in order to collect feedback and also get their feedback on how they're experiencing the system so you can improve it for them. And basically just putting in systems in place that allows you to input data and information, and ideally automating that process, or just having someone on your team that does that for you. And then having the systems where you can pull all the information through in order to see everything. So the visibility inside of Notion, seeing the charts and the views, but also just having a big spreadsheet with all of the different data that you're tracking. So once you have all of that data and everything is being tracked, you can feed it to AI, such as your Poppy board that we created in phase 3. And you can essentially create reports from it. So you can feed all of this information, whether it's your social media stats, feedback from your team, errors in your automations, like whatever it is, you can feed all of that to AI, and then AI can give you a weekly report on your system health, like how healthy is your systems and your automations, is everything running smoothly, and then also what feedback or changes does it suggest you make for the next week, and also based on your voice note. So you can just record a voice note and tell it what you want, what changes you want to make. And then based off all of the data and information that it has, it can then give you an AI report and feedback on how to actually make those changes. And then once you've got that in place, you have a performance monitoring system. So you have a way of actually monitoring the performance of your systems, your team, and how they're interacting with your systems. And then the next step is just preparing everything for scaling. So here you'll see that it says the franchise model. Even if you don't plan to franchise your business, it's a good way to think about your systems, because if you're able to just give your systems and your SOPs and your automations to someone else, and they'll be able to use that in order to grow their business, then your systems are complete. Like if you are able to exit your business, if it's franchisable, then it means it's scalable. So the first step is the scalability audit. So making sure that all your hiring and onboarding systems are in place. You have training for everything. You have quality control processes, and everything is documented and systemized in a way where it is duplicatable. You can replicate it into someone else's business. They can buy it off of you. You can implement it into theirs. Even if you're not planning to do it, it will just help with the development of the systems to ensure that everything is clear and it is well articulated and everyone knows how to actually use these systems. And then once your business is fully systemized, once your processes can be turned into products, once your business model can be sold, because that's the real value of your business, then you can actually plan for growth, because then you can actually handle more volume, more traffic, you can scale faster, and then you want to identify potential bottlenecks that can arise as you scale and handle more volume, and basically just prevent a lot of things that could go wrong, and then also just developing an exit strategy when it comes to your systems. And that way you have a business that does not depend on you in order to scale, a business that is running on systems instead of people. And once you have that in place, your business is systemized and automated. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can actually productize all of your systems and your business model so that you can sell it as digital products to make passive income, or franchise it and implement it into other businesses where you can actually take equity in their business. So the last phase of the systemization process is actually turning all of the SOPs and the systems and the automations that we've built over the previous 4 phases into digital products that you can sell to make passive income or generate leads, or you can use that and implement it into other businesses and then take equity or shares in their business in order to help them grow, or do some type of rev share, or basically just sell it and white label it to other businesses. So basically taking your business model, which is now scalable because you've systemized it, and then selling that and helping other businesses with the same processes and systems that you've created for yourself. So it's a very straightforward process. You want to essentially just identify which internal systems can solve external problems. So this can be, for example, an SOP on how to deliver for your clients. That can be a digital product. That can be a lead magnet, which you can sell in order to make passive income or generate leads. And then basically just packaging all your systems and templates as courses and digital products. You can create a bunch of lead magnets from all of these automations and systems, because most likely it will be useful for other business owners like you, or the systems that is actually going to be useful for your clients. If you want to keep it focused on your customers, then obviously you just package those and you sell that. And then once you have those digital products, it is essentially passive income that you just integrate into all of your courses and your coaching programs, and you do affiliates so you can get other people on your products, and then basically just sell that in order to just make passive income, generate more leads. And also when you're running ads and you have a high ticket service, if you run ads to the digital products, you can break even on your ads by selling the digital product, by selling these systems, which you already have. You're just taking what you have and you're packaging it into a digital product in order to just make money on the front end. And that way your ads is basically free, because you're making all the money back that you're investing, and then you're upselling them on the back end. So obviously the core idea here is you take everything that you've created and built in phase 1, everything inside of your Notion workspace, and then you package that into digital products, as well as your external and internal SOPs. So internal is for you and your business. This will be useful for other business owners like you. And then the external ones is for your clients and your customers. So you can sell it to both types of people. And then also the automations, as well as all of the AI integrations and agents and the performance tracking. So just based off all of this, going through this process, you'll have a ton of digital products and lead magnets that you can use in order to sell to your customers and clients, but also in order to help other business owners just like you. And that can maybe be a higher value and higher leverage service that you can provide later on. But yeah, essentially everything that you've done from phase 1 to phase 4 can be packaged and sold as a digital product. So basically the core idea with this is your business model is the product, your business model, your SOPs, systems and automations, all of this is the service, this is the product, this is the value of your business. It's not the actual thing that you're selling or doing for other people, it's the business itself, it's the way you run your business. This becomes essentially how you franchise, and this is the real value of your business, and this is what makes a business exitable. So yeah, that is my process for systemizing businesses. Again, this is a free guide that you can download through the link in the description. And if you want more content like this, then be sure to give this video a quick like. And if you want me and my team to help you implement one of these steps or all of them, then be sure to book a call with us below and we'll be able to help you systemize your business. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.